Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for another episode of Our Community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County, powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, with Mr. OC himself, John Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Pa Roberts. And again, welcome everybody to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Senior Vice President John Gutierrez, and we're excited to be here with another superstar guest who happens to also be one of our ambassadors here at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Theresa Harvey, who is a licensed insurance broker and a Medicare specialist. So we're going to really go into some really important stuff for your parents or yourself about all this in the Medicare industry and in healthcare. Welcome, Theresa.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We're excited to have you. I know you're one of our new ambassadors, and we'll talk a little bit about that and how much, hopefully, you're enjoying yourself with the whole group, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Carol Robles, our director of the ambassadors.
Carol. Yeah.
Right?
We love Carol.
Yes. But first and foremost, as our guest, we like to always get to know you. If you don't mind sharing a little bit about yourself, and maybe we'll go into, obviously, eventually, how you ended up in this industry. And we'll definitely talk about the chamber, of course, and all that we're doing there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I was born not in California, but in Washington State, outside of Seattle, about 20 minutes north in a town called Linwood with two N's.
Okay.
Like the Linwood here. And yeah, kind of a small town, grew up there, went to college in Oregon, got my bachelor's degree from the University of Oregon, majored in art history.
The Ducks.
The Ducks. I'm a Duck. I know. My entire family are Huskies, University of Washington Huskies,
really?
My entire family. So
we can kind of
I really had to rebel as a young person.
Well, the Ducks, man, they're sponsored by Nike and all.
Yeah.
I mean, they
it was
always
a fun
have
place to go
the
to school.
nicest uniforms. Did you ever go to the football games?
I did. I got to go to a couple. The tickets were on like a lottery. So you had to go online and claim your ticket. And it was hard.
So many people want to go to these games, right?
Everyone who lived in the town, all of the alumni, they all would snag up the tickets.
Yeah.
So it was hard. You had to have good internet and keep refreshing your page to snag the tickets.
Not sure what year you were there, but I remember there was a few years that they had some really good seasons.
They did.
And then, of course, the same coach went to UCLA after that. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember his name, but
Chip Kelly?
Yes. And he's in the pros now, I think.
I think he was. I think he's not anymore. But maybe he is.
Yes. Yes. But
I'm a huge football fan.
But Oregon, I've never been there, but it seems like a beautiful campus. Great.
It was beautiful. It was a lot like Washington, actually. The two states are very similar. Very
cold weather.
In the Pacific Northwest, very green, a lot of overcast days, a lot of drizzle. But when you grow up with it, you kind of, I don't know, I developed a liking for it. So now when we have gray days down here and it rains, I'm the only happy one in Orange County because it reminds me of home.
So tell me, at Oregon, you decide obviously at that point you graduate and you move on. What happens next?
Well, I had gotten my degree in art history of all things because I have always loved history and art and music and I grew up doing theater and drama camps and choirs and singing lessons and all of that kind of stuff and just loved the arts. And then when I had my first art history class, I just fell in love. So I studied that. I went with what my heart was calling me to. So I studied art history and then I applied to grad school because I wanted to continue on and get a higher degree. I felt like that would be good for my future. So I applied and UC Riverside gave me the most money to come and get my master's degree in art history. So that's what I did. So that's the reason why I live down here in Southern California, actually.
That's what brought you over here.
That's what brought me down here. I was told in undergrad, go where they give you the most money. That's how you decide.
I mean,
where
it
to
makes
go.
sense,
It
right?
makes sense.
I mean, nowadays, there's a lot of conversations. In fact, I had one this morning with somebody about the importance of not getting in debt in college.
Yeah.
So if somebody's willing to give you all that money to get your master's degree, that is awesome.
You work hard and you can earn merit-based scholarships, grants.
Very different, though, Oregon from Riverside.
Yes, and I didn't live in Riverside. I lived in Costa Mesa.
So you
on
commuted?
Purpose. I did.
Oh.
I did, but I was only commuting out there about 3 times a week, and it was sort of after rush hour. It was the opposite hours of traffic. So that was my time to just relax and listen to music and Otherwise, I was just sitting at my computer reading, a lot of reading. So driving out to Riverside was no big deal. It was fun.
So it seems like you love reading books.
I do. I love learning. I love education. I love teaching, educating others. I worked as a teacher's assistant in grad school and had that experience of teaching college students. And my heart goes out to all the college professors out there. It's rough. Education system is a whole other can of worms. That
shout outs to all the hardworking professors and teachers. Oh yeah,
they're doing God's work.
Oh yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
And I decided that the route of being a full-time academic was not for me. I didn't want to be making syllabuses and teaching classes and grading papers and doing that forever.
What you had gone to school for.
That's what I had gone to school for.
Interesting. Okay.
So I graduate with my master's in art history and sort of didn't know what to do. I was working at Pier 1 Imports at the time. And I just met a gal actually at the nail salon of all places. She was boisterous and loud. And I thought, I need to meet this girl. So we ended up talking about nails and whatnot. And then she ended up giving me a ride home. I lived actually across the street from the nail salon. And we became friends. We had lunch one day and she said, actually my dad owns a mortgage company and that's what I do. And it's great. And you can learn the business. He'll bring you in. You make an easy 10 grand a month. No problem. Everything will be gravy. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds good because I'm working at Pier 1 Imports and I have a master's in art history and I've decided not to go into academia. There's some other things I could have done. I actually was considering going into gallery work or working for one of the major auction houses or something. So I was always leaning towards a more sales side of a career rather than education, even though that's where my heart is. And
well, you're a people person, so that makes sense when you say a sales side, right?
Yeah, I like the connection with people. I think spending so many years just in my room reading and immersing myself in history and in foreign lands and times, I kind of wanted to come back to reality and do something really practical. So I ended up working for a mortgage company. It was a wholesale mortgage company, non-prime lending. It was post 2008, but it was still a great time to be in that space. And I bounced around at a few different companies. I went to Wells Fargo for a while and I worked in their home mortgage department there doing lending and I enjoyed it, but I fell into the corporate environment, and that wasn't necessarily for me either.
Lending, for those of you that don't know, I've met a lot of people that do lending, especially with our real estate committee.
Right.
It's a good opportunity to make, is it good commission, right? Or something? You make a percentage, right?
Yeah, it's 100% commission. Usually you get something to start. You'll get a little bit of a guarantee initially.
But if you close some big loans, it's some good money, right?
It's exciting. It's a thrill. It's fun. It's nice to earn your keep and get out of something what you're putting into it.
And not to mention, you're also helping somebody get into their, hopefully maybe a new home.
You are. And I liked that. I liked making a tangible difference and offering people information that can empower them.
Yes.
So I enjoyed that a lot, but there were other aspects of the industry I didn't love. I found it very difficult in a lot of ways. There's some just things that go on that didn't align with my values, and as highly regulated as it is, the industry, some people out there find their way around the regulations, and they do things that aren't so scrupulous. So I didn't enjoy that too much. Anyway, my path went actually that I ended up getting married, having a baby. I had my son about 4 years ago. He's a cutie pie. And so I went out of the workforce. I retired. I hung up my hat as a lender.
Well, having a baby changes.
It does.
Changes a person, right?
Any women out there will understand. Sometimes you have to make choices and sacrifices. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice. I was lucky enough to be home with my baby. I had him at the end of 2019, so it was right before COVID hit.
I was driving with my wife to work. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and we were listening to Ryan Seacrest or something on the radio, and they were doing like a prize for women who had just had a baby or something, because they were talking about that. Like, it's so hard for women when they just have a baby, and it's just a lot of work.
You need a lot of support.
Yes.
It really does take a village. It takes, and as a woman, sometimes you want to try to do it all yourself and think, I got this. It's in me. It's innate. Yes. But there's a learning curve, and it's hard. The sleep deprivation is the hardest part, as all the parents out there know. But anyhow, he got older and it was time for me to go back to work. And I reconnected with two amazing contacts that I had made from the mortgage industry. One was Liberato Martinez, who is the co-head of my agency, Legacy Partners.
Nice.
And he has tons of experience in insurance. I think probably 20 some odd years. He worked for Farmers Insurance.
I just want to point out that he was on your show.
Liberato?
Yeah, he was on the show.
Oh my God, we've had so many people on the show. I'm so
You're
sorry.
blanking.
Small world.
Because I remember what a unique name, and he talked
Liberato.
He talked about how I think it was his grandfather had fought with like Zapata or somebody like that.
That's him.
And they had named him Liberty after this revolutionary struggle here.
It's a fantastic story. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It was just too cool to let that pass up.
Oh, he's so
he kept
great.
waving at me, Paul. Like, I'm like, what's going on, Paul?
He's got a story.
He's like, I know that guy.
So he's been my mentor in the insurance industry. The other person is Jill Takahashi, who's the other co-head of my agency. And I know her from the mortgage industry because at Wells Fargo, they actually brought her in. She worked for escrow. She did escrow for about 20 years as well before retiring from that and now doing Medicare insurance full time a few years ago. But so they reconnected with me. They said, we think this would be a great fit for you. We love your personality, your energy, your work ethic, and we love you. And so it's been a great fit ever since.
But you're so shy. I'm surprised you went to
I'm very shy. I'm very closed up. No, I was telling myself on the way here, like, don't try to be funny. Don't make any jokes.
Why would you say that?
Just look, I'm wearing all black. I'm very serious today.
No. You know, our ambassadors, of course, which, you know, thank you so much for being one of our ambassadors.
Of course.
For people that don't know, our chamber ambassadors are all volunteers. You know, they help out at our events. They try to obviously do as much as they can as far as helping educate the community on who we are as a chamber, what we do, our programs. And so thank you for joining our ambassador team this year.
Of course.
Thank
you for having me.
Yeah, we have a great team. I think there's
Really
probably
good.
like 10, 15. I don't know.
I've heard it's the largest group.
Yes, it's one of
that
the
we've
largest
had.
group we had in a long
Yeah.
time. And everybody got their new white shirts and stuff.
I'm still waiting on
You're
my
still
shirt.
waiting yours? Okay, we still got to get you
Carol's
yours.
got it. Carol's got it.
Yes. But, you know, thank you for doing that. I know you get a lot of, I guess slack from you telling me earlier before the show, you know, because people will say, are you Hispanic? And then you'll be like, no, I'm not Hispanic.
I'm not.
But it's okay. People don't understand. You don't have to be Hispanic to be part of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is there to help you connect with the Hispanic community.
That's right.
And so you probably get a lot of those conversations, obviously.
I do.
Right.
And recently I was made to feel a lot better. I had a one-on-one with another business owner, and he's Hispanic and he doesn't speak a lick of Spanish. So I felt like, you know, we're all different. We all bring something different to the table, and it's okay. I serve the Hispanic population, the community here in Orange County, and you can't not. Hispanics own Orange County. You know, that's a huge proportion. So unless, like I said, unless you don't like money, you're going to serve everyone. You're going to help as many people as you can.
Well, a good example is, you know, our October event, which is coming up October 16th, Hispanic Heritage Month. We have a committee called, you know, Viva la Cultura Committee, right? And you're on it.
I am.
And people would say, well, why would you have her on it? And it's like, why not? If anything, regardless of the situation, you're going to learn from the committee.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully, many of the cultural stuff, if you don't already know it, right? Not only that, but you're there to help us, period. You know, just be part of the event,
That's
enjoy
what it's
yourself.
all about.
Yeah.
I'm here to help. I'm here to
Exactly.
be useful. And I don't think you guys will relegate me to the back or anything.
No,
But,
I hope we haven't.
but it's also it's a platform to highlight Hispanic-owned businesses, Hispanic creators, artists. So I'm very excited about that and to celebrate those
and a
people.
great fashion show we're going to have.
A great fashion show.
Right?
Yes, I
Jessica
know.
and the others and Maria and the whole committee, Erica.
I can't wait.
They're working hard on that whole fashion show. And this event, which is October 16th, is not going to just have fashion. It's actually going to have art, which is something that's also
Close to my heart.
Close to your heart. I know it's
Yes.
close to you and Erica, who's you know, part of the whole committee. You know, we want to make sure that people that come out to that event enjoy themselves but learn more about, you know, the art, the music, the fashion, right? It is Hispanic Heritage Month. That's why we're doing it at the Hangar 21. Hangar
24.
What is it called? I blanked out. This is 21.
We'll check on that.
Yes, but it's going to be out in Fullerton, and it's you guys will see more information on it. But thank you for volunteering as an ambassador, and thank you for being involved in our committees.
It's great. Also, side note, your guys' events are the best. It's the
I didn't
best
pay her to
food.
say that. I didn't pay her to say
They have
that.
the best food. It's a breakfast mixer. There's beans, there's rice, there's
Chilaquiles?
eggs, there's chilaquiles, and they're delicious. There's
Hold on,
coffee with
Paul. Don't
cinnamon.
interrupt this. She's giving us
She's on a roll.
She's on a
Con
roll.
Canela. It smells amazing in the room.
The
With
coffee
cinnamon.
with canela.
Coffee with cinnamon.
Yeah, Thomas does a good job of getting us café con canela.
It is
tried it,
Hangar
I tried it.
21
Hangar 21.
thank you.
in
Yes.
Fullerton.
Thank you.
Yes, Hangar 20. Beautiful venue. The event's going to also have some of our veterans involved. And I want to give a shout out to the venue for giving us a good discount, a good deal, because they want to also honor our veterans.
Yes.
And so that was very, very nice of them to host us. But, back to the mixers. So next Thursday, which who knows when you watch the show, but, every once a month, at the end of the month, we have our breakfast business mixers for our real estate committee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the breakfast you're talking about, where we have chilaquiles,
Oh, it's
beans, rice.
fantastic.
You definitely come and enjoy yourself from networking, but there's good food, right?
There's a smoke machine and laser beams, everyone.
That's not ours.
Come out.
It's the Spoons
venue.
restaurant. Spoons. And by the way, shout out to Spoons.
Yes.
They host us a lot. Thank you so much. But they have a nice little venue there in Santa Ana. They're one of our members right off of Dyer.
Yeah.
So go eat there and support them. And then also you were part of the Estrella Awards this year.
I helped out for
Yes.
this year over at the Disneyland
What did you think
Hotel.
of that? I mean, what was that?
It was great. It's every little girl's dream to be at the Disneyland Hotel and to be putting out popcorn holders and on chairs. No, it was really fun. It was a really good time. Everyone looked gorgeous. Everything
The
was
gowns, right?
Oh, everyone was dressed up to the
Yes.
nines.
My wife loves dressing up for that event. The
Of
gowns,
course. We don't get a lot of opportunities to do that. So
It's a big
fun.
day, right?
It is. I can't wait till next year. And we had a powwow afterwards, and we talked about ways that we can make it even better, the ambassadors group, and ways that we can make sure that the awardees are honored and everyone knows where to go, and just how to always improve everything that we're doing.
It's a lot of work. I mean,
It is.
organizing, there's a whole planning committee for it, the Stray Awards committee. And, I give a lot of credit to Edna and Aya and the team and Ruben, our president and CEO, because, I mean, when you're trying to seat 700 plus people,
Yeah.
and, most people will buy tables for their businesses or so forth, but there's always one or two empty seats here and there. And trying to fill those seats with last minute people who are like, well, there's four of us and we want to sit together. And they're calling you the last minute, right? And you're like, unfortunately, I only have two open seats over here and two open seats over there. And, so it's definitely a challenge. And I've been a part of it, I want to say, wow, man, at least over 10 years, maybe close to 13 years or something of the Estrella Awards.
It's very
And,
amazing what you guys
I've
do.
gone-
Shout out to Edna, by the way.
Yes, Edna, who's going to be here shortly. Around we're here at the building, of course, our office is here, but it's a lot of work. But it's a beautiful event. Paul was there today. That was there, right, that day.
It was like the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Yes.
It felt that way.
They make you walk across the stage escorted by a lovely young lady.
Yeah.
They don't just walk up and hand you something from the audience. Everything it had that feeling to it.
Well, Henry Mendoza, who listens to our show or watches the show a lot, he's one of the founders of the Estrella Awards, and he's one of our longtime, members, board members. I think at some point he was also the chair of our board, but he's one of the founders of that whole Estrella Awards. And he would always tell me stories of like the thought process originally. And then of course it's, improved and gotten better. And so I know for Ruben, our CEO, it's very important that the event is very like you said, the Academy Awards,
It's classy. It's upscale. It's very Disney as well. They're playing the Disney music while you're eating dinner.
That
It's
does give you,
beautiful.
what's funny, when we're setting up, I walked out and there was like Goofy or one of these Plutos and some of the characters.
Yeah.
And it was like, wait a minute, that's right. I'm at the Disneyland Hotel.
I will volunteer to help at the Estrella Awards anytime, any year.
Are you a
need
big
me.
Disney fan?
Of course. Yeah. I actually used to travel down. My family would come every year to Palm Springs for vacation in the fall, and we would drive out to Disneyland and go. So I was a
Wow.
lucky kid. I got to go once a year.
I think people that live around here like us, we take it for granted.
You do. I know. If I would have known
Did you
that
see
I
her face was like, you do.
You guys don't know. You don't know how much other people want to be living near Disneyland.
Really?
Oh yeah, people make it. They plan trips. They go up. They're huge fans, but they don't have the access to it like we have here.
That was interesting. My wife and I and the boys, we went to Disneyland. I want to say like 2 years ago, and we were there, right? And my wife was buying some food with the boys, and I was standing there, and I was talking to this gentleman. Turned out, I was like, "Oh, are you guys here for the day?" And he goes, "Oh no, we're here the whole week."
Yeah.
And I looked at him like, the whole week, you know? And he's like, oh yeah, we can't wait. We're going to see the whole week. And for us that live here, we're like, we're going to go one day, do what we have to, and then go home, right?
Leave and get out of there.
Yes. Yeah. And people that, no, we're going to stay here a whole week to make sure we every piece of so Disneyland, yes, it's a staple.
Yeah,
in Orange
it's just
County.
a lovely sunny bubble down here. I came from the land of the trees and the rain and the doom and gloom, and so just a reminder for you folks that you're living in Wonderland.
So let's get into the Medicare stuff because I want to make sure we talk about that.
Yes.
So you're a Medicare specialist. Tell people what that is and what it is that you do as far as that role.
Okay. Well, I am a licensed insurance agent. I'm licensed with the state of California, the Department of Insurance. I also do hold licenses in Oregon and Washington. I have clients up there as well. And I can add state licenses as needed so I can follow my clients as they move around the country if need be. So I'm an independent insurance broker. I'm contracted with all of the major Medicare insurance providers in the area. Name a carrier, I represent them. And I do that because I want to be able to do my due diligence for my clients and shop around for them and pick the right plan for them. Unfortunately, in Medicare, there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of scare tactics. There's a lot of advertising that can be confusing. And I really like to just demystify the whole world of Medicare for people, especially for seniors, because of course, Medicare is for folks 65 and older. It's also actually for people who have been on disability for 2 consecutive years. So a lot of people don't know that you automatically are eligible for Medicare if you're on disability, 24 consecutive months. Yeah. But mainly it's seniors, and they're the last group that deserves to be confused and stuck and falling through the cracks as far as healthcare. So I do what I can to make a difference for them. I hold their hand through the whole process of signing up for Medicare, what to know, what to do. I'm not affiliated with any government agency or Social Security, but I help them. I tell them where to go, how to sign up for your Part A and your Part B when you're ready, when you're eligible. And then I help them find the right plan for them. It sounds simple, but it's not. There are so many different plans. We're very blessed to live where we live there with the plethora of health providers, medical groups. We're very lucky. There's a lot of competition and good care, but there's also a lot of options. And when you have a lot of options and there's a lot of money to be made on the part of the carriers and the doctors and the medical groups, there can be some trepidation, confusion, and people can fall through the cracks. So I help them enroll in a plan, pick the right plan. I advise them on, I let them know about all of the year-to-year changes that occur. Contracts change all the time. And that's one of the sources of stress for folks is if a contract changes and their insurance company is no longer has a relationship with the medical group, then they can't see their doctor anymore. And it's my job to stay ahead of that and let them know and help them find a solution. Any problems with billing, any type of customer service issue you have with your health insurance, I like to be the first point of contact for them, because who likes to call customer service and be sitting on hold for hours and hours, and then you get routed to another country, and it's not always the best experience.
Oh, yeah. Paul, you had a question?
We're talking about me. I'm on
Talking
Medicare.
about you, Paul.
Oh, Paul's on Medicare.
Paul's on Medicare.
Wow.
Paul's going to be a client of mine pretty soon.
I think
Sign him up.
Oh, yeah.
The 2 things I didn't know when you turn 65 is you got to sign up even if you're working and have other insurance. If you don't, you can be penalized.
You can be penalized. This is one of those things. So we want
Very
to make
important.
it not scary.
Pay attention to this. So Paul just said it, for those of you watching over here on live, is he was working at the time. He turned 65, right? But he, no matter what, had to get his Medicare benefits, right?
Had to sign up
for them. And if he didn't, he got penalized.
Okay, so here's how it works. So you become eligible once you've worked your 40 quarters in the United States. You're a citizen of the U.S. 40 quarters amounts to 10 years. You turn 65, all of a sudden you're entitled to Medicare. And keep in mind, your whole career, on that line on your paycheck every month, you've been setting aside money for Medicare benefits.
Yep, you've been paying towards it.
You've been paying into it. It's your money.
Yes.
So it's a bucket that's set aside for you, and you get to utilize it. Now, because it's insurance, and the way that insurance works is it's a shared system. You pay into it, and you reap the benefits out of it. It's shared amongst a group of people. That means that I just had a total brain fart. I'm like so into this.
She had a senior moment talking talking senior topics here. So here you are. But the point is, nobody tells you any of this.
The point is that it's a shared system, and they expect a certain number of people to be in the system at a given time in a given year. They have calculations on how many 65-year-olds are aging into Medicare. So if you don't utilize it, they have a penalty, and I believe it's 10% for every year that you don't join and are eligible. Now, if you have credible coverage, which is what, if Paul would have had that, we were talking a little bit before, and typically it's companies with 20 or more employees that they offer insurance coverage that's at least equivalent to what the government is going to offer you. And if that's the case, then it qualifies as credible coverage and you don't have to pay a penalty. So a lot of what I do is I consult with people who are turning 65, they're on their employer plan, and they're just not sure if they want to move off of it or not. And it's a very simple apples to apples comparison. We look at what are you paying for your insurance now? A lot of people don't even know what they're paying because it just comes out of their paycheck. And we compare it with the options for Medicare. There's a standard rate for Part B. Right now it's $174.60, I believe, went up a couple of dollars from last year. And that's what everyone pays for their Part B. That's what the government charges.
And that was the second thing. I thought it was all free.
It's not all free.
There is a cost.
What was that again?
It's not all free.
It's not all free.
In fact, we don't even use the word free in Medicare because nothing's
She said,
free.
it's not all free.
No,
the way you say it is like nobody's supposed to know.
There's still a cost.
But these are all big secrets when you sign up for this
Really,
stuff.
Paul?
I'm telling you, nobody
one
knocked on my
tells you.
door and
No.
called me up and said, hey, by the way,
I just want to
you're
clarify
65.
something real quick, folks. I've been in healthcare myself for 20-some years because we own a hospice company, as many people know. And Medicare, when it comes to an insurance provider, is the best insurance you can have.
I agree.
People don't realize that. So, yes, there's some cost to it, but from a co-pay standpoint, from a trying to get an authorization standpoint, I know this because my wife does a lot of this for us, Medicare, and yes, it's getting a little bit more complicated because there's more groups coming into it and all that. But Medicare is the best insurance we can have.
It's
People
great.
don't
And
there's all these other
options.
insurance plans, but Medicare is the best.
Here's the thing. There's no one size fits all. So there's original Medicare. You can stick with just your Part A and your Part B. That's your hospital and doctor benefits.
Yes.
Part A is $0. Part B costs the standard rate, like I mentioned before, the $174. And for that, you get your doctor and your hospital coverage. You don't get drug coverage. You don't get extras like dental, vision, hearing, transportation, over-the-counter allowances, things of that nature. You don't get any of those extras, but you get your coverage. Then if you want to go with a Medicare Advantage plan, that's when you start to get the extras. And typically the Medicare Advantage plans on the market, the HMOs are zero premium.
So that was the shock.
That's where the
original
benefits
Medicare was a cost, which I thought would be free, and then all the other stuff that I'd been paying for was suddenly free. So I'm confused. The government stuff that I thought was free has a cost, and the other stuff that I had been paying for was free.
Yeah.
If that doesn't confuse you, call somebody.
Call me.
Yeah. I think we got somebody to call.
Well, you've been paying into the system, right? So you have your little bucket of money. And the way that they do it is the government will give that bucket of money, that big bucket of money, to the insurance carrier of your choice. So you decide who you want to be the insurance company that is going to administer your benefits for you. They don't provide your care. That's another distinction that's really important, is the medical group is who provides your care. That's who runs the facilities, hires the doctors. They're managing your actual medical care, whereas the insurance company is handling your benefits and the administration of your benefits. So sometimes people just sort of direct their anger in the wrong way. Sometimes they get mad at the insurance company when it's actually the regulatory agency, CMS, Center for Medicare
I'm fuming over here
Services.
just listening to all this, just thinking
but
about
I
all
promise
this.
You guys should see
Paul,
Paul's
I
face.
promise you, Paul, it
He's
makes
just
sense.
like,
I promise it makes
he's
sense.
a Medicare. Yeah.
So-
but you weren't complaining when you turned 55 and you got the 55 discount
I didn't
It's
at
good.
Denny's, huh?
about
I'm
that.
telling you, Paul, I can't wait to be 65 with how good Medicare is. I swear to you, it's better than what I'm dealing with.
It is good,
It's
but
good.
it was confusing.
It is
And
confusing.
nobody tells
But
you
that's
that.
why
That's
you
the
call
problem. That's what you call me.
Theresa.
Now, people don't even know that I exist, that you can have
Right.
someone who's going to
How do they get a hold of you?
You call me on my cell phone. It's
Do you really want to give out your cell phone? I don't know.
Uh-oh.
You call me on my cell phone.
How about
It's
an
on
email?
It's
You want
on
an
my website. My
Really?
cell phone is my work phone.
Okay,
these
you want to
days-
give it out? I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
No, let's not do that. No, it's fine.
How about
They're
an
gonna
email, or they can go to your website?
Yes,
What's the
you
website?
can go to MedicareMamaOC.com.
Medicare Mama.
Get Paul,
How are you going to forget that one?
Exactly.
Medicare Mama.
MedicareMamaOC.com. All my information is there. And
MedicareMamaOC.com. I know we're laughing about it, but it's important, right? Because Paul's a perfect example of somebody who's sharing with us their story of how it could be a little bit, confusing and
a lot confusing. Not a little bit.
It is, and it's so
confusing.
frustrating.
I'm trying to be conservative over here.
And my whole goal in life is to take the stress out of Medicare.
Yes.
For folks, because it has
that
big
should be your
consequences.
tagline on the Medicare Mama website.
Yeah.
Take the stress
out of Medicare.
Out of Medicare.
Yes.
And when you do this for people, do they have to pay you to
They
figure
don't
it out?
have to pay me a dime. The insurance company
She
pays
makes
me.
her money on the other end, right?
It's the best gig in the world because
Yes.
I work for you, but somebody else pays me.
Exactly.
So the insurance company pays me. They pay me the same, no matter what plan you go with. So we're
Yes.
not even subconsciously biased towards one plan or another. Our goal is to give you the right plan that has the right coverage that suits your needs and to keep you happy.
Now, I
We
got to
wanna
go
keep
one
you
more
on our
step
books.
into that. That's that
Please.
standard disclaimer, whatever suits your needs. I don't know what my needs
That's
are.
because we haven't had a conversation
Yeah, I
yet.
don't
We
know
haven't
what my
had that
needs are.
discovery conversation, Paul, because there's a lot of things that you might not think are pertinent. But what if you have trouble? What if your car breaks down a lot? What if you don't have a car? What if you can't get to the doctor's office? And so you're limited to go to the one that's right across the street, and you don't like that facility. You don't like how the doctors treat you or how the staff treats you, but you feel like you're stuck. I just met a lady the other day who that was her situation. And Medicare Advantage plans, most of them on the market, offer routine transportation to drive you to your appointments.
Or
and to
some
the
of them
pharmacy.
offer things like gym memberships.
They
or-
all offer gym memberships. It's such a fantastic benefit.
I
There's
don't-
no excuse, people.
Well, let's be clear.
At any age.
Let's not forget, we're talking about healthcare. And so when you're talking about healthcare, let's remember that if you've been with your doctor for so many years, right, that's difficult, right? Switching at a certain age.
Absolutely.
If you have to.
And
I'm just thinking from the standpoint of a patient or a family, right?
Right.
Because it isn't until we get sick or something happens that we say, oh, where's my Medicare card or where's my insurance information? Because this just happened. And so even though we're having fun with it, and now I know Paul Roberts is having high blood pressure over here about this conversation, right?
To have an appointment with Paul.
But again, this is why it's so important that you speak to a professional like Theresa, because that's what she does on a regular basis. I don't do that on a regular basis. Paul doesn't do this. So you're the professional. You've heard every probably story or situation out there, and that is where you're going to figure out which plan makes sense for you. Right?
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of things. There's over-the-counter allowances. There's plans that offer utilities, money every month for utilities, rent. Not a lot, but there's money out there to assist you. And again, they're utilizing that bucket of money that's set aside for you. And the companies, the carriers deciding what they want to offer in their selection of benefits and how they're going to be competitive.
And don't trust what everybody else, the few people that you can ask, your cousin in Montana.
Thank you.
Your friend in Florida.
Your neighbor, your Aunt Susie.
Real quick, because we're running out
Tom
of time.
Selleck.
The reason why
Tom Selleck, exactly.
Paul and Theresa are going to have a meeting after this about his Medicare benefits. But the reason why this is important, guys, is because you have to understand our healthcare system. You know, hospitals, at least a good portion of them, are privately owned. Even though there's a lot of nonprofits, they're privately owned. You have to understand why the healthcare system is set up this way. So the government has all these situations set up because they're trying to make sure that when you end up in the hospital, which is privately owned, okay, by a corporation, that they don't just take all the money and break the government from as much money as possible while you're there 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. And trust me, you know, that's part of why the healthcare system is this way. Why do you think they offer gym memberships and things like that?
Yeah,
they want you to stay
They want you to
healthier.
stay healthy.
They're trying to keep you out of the hospital. They're trying to, you know, keep you from getting sick,
Keep
right?
overall costs down.
Yes,
for
you know the
everyone.
number one problem, Paul. This is, I know you're over 65.
Well, you're looking at me again here.
Well,
right.
you brought it up.
You're gonna point
I didn't
me
know
out.
you were over 65. Number
didn't
one
know he
problem
was
with
gonna feature
seniors.
in
Number
so
one
heavily
problem with
today.
seniors. I'm going to leave you guys with this because I've been in healthcare for many years. Is if you fall as a senior,
true,
and you break your hip, that's the number one problem. From there, downhill.
Hard to recover.
Why? Because now you're no longer walking, right? You're gaining weight. You're not eating the same.
Yeah.
And what happens now, you're having heart disease problems. Now you're having bad apnea, sleeping, right? You don't sleep well. So So something as simple as your hip, right? That is why, like the gym membership you mentioned as the benefit plan that some people get offered, it's good just to keep the seniors active and stretching.
It's a whole picture.
Yeah,
they try to address everything. Personal emergency response systems.
Yes.
We all remember those commercials.
Exactly.
I've fallen and I can't get up. Those things we joke about the commercial, but they save lives.
I know that because we offer that for our patients in our hospice.
Yes, and you can get that through Medicare. That's
Can I tell you a real life story? I know we're going over here. My dad, my late father, died 10 years ago at 93.
Oh, wow.
And he had, prior to that, a stroke. He had heart bypass. He had leukemia. He had all these things. He's an old World War II bomber pilot. Nothing. This is no problem for me. Yeah. Stroke, no big deal. Heart attack, who cares?
Sure.
Now he goes to he had cancer and all these things. His doctor says, I can handle all that. Just don't fall. My dad laughs. Well, he says, because the fall does all sorts of things, starts this downward trend.
That's
my
really
dad
true.
fell, pulling something out of the refrigerator, and that's what killed him.
Yeah. Why do you think that when you have a surgery at the hospital or anything major, the first thing they tell you is we need to get you up and walking around the hospital? Because the walking is part of the system that keeps you alive from not building blood clots.
Pumps the blood out of your legs and everything.
It's a holistic picture. That's, dental is a huge concern. We're learning more and more about how important your dental health is tied to the rest of your overall health.
Your digestive system.
Can cause a lot of problems, can cause heart problems.
Alzheimer's, they're thinking. Alzheimer's has some relate with dental disease because it's in your head, it gets into your brain.
Absolutely. So there's plans that offer amazing dental
Did you hear that?
Details, but
there's plans that offer amazing dental, and that's rare to hear.
Yeah,
right?
You get money for your dental procedures for the year.
Call Theresa. Again, what's the website, Theresa?
MedicareMamaOC.com.
I will never forget that as long as I get it.
Yep, I'm here to listen to your gripes, your concerns, your complaints, and hopefully sort it out for you. And
we've run out of time.
We have.
We're past. Normally, Paul's giving me the stinky eye, but because this is a topic that he likes,
I want to talk about this for the next hour.
He wants to talk, so he will stay here and talk to Theresa some more. But thank you all for tuning in. Theresa, thank you for being here. Great information.
I appreciate it. My first podcast. I only had one brain fart. Only one.
What? Senior
Pretty good
moment.
for my first
Senior
time.
moment.
Unfortunately, we can't cut that out because it's live. But thank you for providing this information. Again, Theresa Harvey, licensed insurance broker, Medicare specialist, and one of our superstar chamber ambassadors. Thank you for all you do for our chamber, always volunteering, helping out. Folks, reach out to her if you need some of this information. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast show. Again, our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We're here every Wednesday midday. And thank you for tuning in. Follow us on social media, OCHCC, our Instagram, or our Facebook. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Real life reason to tune in each and every time. If you're a senior like me, go call the Medicare Mama and find out what you're missing. All that and more on our weekly journey we call our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County, powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beal Applied Innovation Center.